Did you know that companies using blended learning see 50% higher employee engagement in their training programs? And when employees are engaged, they are likely learning more. And when they are learning more, they are better able to apply that knowledge to the job. You've got nothing to lose with blended learning. Let's talk about how you can leverage the power of blended learning to optimize performance and employee engagement in your organization. Hi, I'm Mary, and with 30 years experience in learning and development, I'm just trying to share as much information as I can to help you be successful in your organization. This channel is for people who already work in the learning part of the organization, as well as small business owners who are looking for ways to optimize their employee performance by leveraging the power of effective training. So with all of that said, let's get to it. If you like what you see on this channel, I hope that you'll subscribe and please reach out with any questions you have regarding learning and development or anything that I say on any of these videos. Okay, let's get to it. So first off, what is blended learning? Well, basically, there's a variety of components that could use. Blended is just what it sounds like. It's combining multiple types of learning styles in the same learning package. So for example, instead of just having an online learning program, you combine maybe an online learning program with a separate lab. Or you might have a video and then you combine that with an instructor-led training course. Maybe they have an instructor who's teaching portions of it, and then maybe they have some opportunities to do some labs or exercises on their own. So it's blending the approaches. It's not just lecture, it's not just online. You don't have to pick either one of those. You can create learning programs that combine those modalities. Some other formats that you might include is maybe you have written documentation that is a part of your training. So maybe some of it is instructor-led and some of it is self-study. Maybe they have some virtual classes or some videos that they need to take that are created, or maybe you even combine a training course with some coaching sessions to give them some individualized instruction. All of these are examples of blended learning approaches. The key features of blended learning is flexibility, scalability, and customization. You have the option to modify all of these and to customize it to meet the learner's needs. Now that we know what it is, let's talk about the benefits of blended learning, and they are numerous. So first and foremost, you have enhanced learner engagement. It combines the best of both worlds. We all learn a little bit differently. So by having a variety of modalities available for learning, then you're combining it all and you're optimizing your opportunity for the learner to be engaged. They have the opportunity to have human interaction as well as self-paced learning. Takes away the fear of learning, the fear of not understanding what's happening. If I have some self-paced that I can do, but then I can come back and have some interaction with a live instructor. It really enhances the engagement because it sets them up for success. It's also more cost effective. If you only have instructor-led training, for example, you have a lot of travel and accommodations and time spent for in-person training. You can have a more cost-effective program if you decrease the amount of time of instructor-led and maybe replace some of that with some self-study and then leverage the expertise of your instructors for those critical pieces of the learning that your employees really need to learn. Instead of having them spoon feed the student or the employee, instead of spoon feeding them the information, expect that employee to do some self-study and then come back to the class with relevant questions and ready to participate and experience labs and actually apply some of the information that they've learned. Blended learning also improves learning retention. When you have to apply what you've learned in a variety of ways, or when you change up the way that people are learning, then it increases the retention. So let's say, for example, I have a completely online program, and so my employee is just watching videos, for a week or a day or whatever. At some point, they're going to zone out from that. When you have a blended approach, you have an opportunity for them to be more engaged because they know that, okay, I'm going to get this video or this online part, but then I'm going to be held accountable for this other piece, or just switching it up just engages our mind in a different way. If I read some content and then hear some content and then maybe have a coaching session with my person, my training person who's helping me one-on-one, then that improves the retention level of everything that I'm learning. A blended learning approach is also much more scalable for growth. So if you want to use blended learning, it's appropriate for both small enterprises as well as large organizations. If you can structure a program that it combines various modalities of learning, then there are just numerous benefits to doing that for both the learner and for the business. Let me provide just a few examples in different industries because I know a common question is, how will this work in my industry? So let's talk about just a few different industries where I've come up with an example of how you might leverage a blended learning approach. So let's say in the healthcare industry, maybe you have simulations which are online for people to learn some medical procedures, and then maybe they come back and have hands-on practice or lab with an instructor who can actually evaluate their skill set and provide some guidance in that. That's a blended learning approach in healthcare. Now let's try retail. You can create a customer service training that might have a variety of video simulations or interactions, of good customer service and poor customer service. And then you might have in-person role-playing exercises. So maybe they watch these videos, they see what they should and shouldn't do, and then maybe they come back into a classroom setting for role-playing exercises. How about technology? Technical skills can be learned not just in technology, but any sort of technical skills through virtual labs in an online environment. And then they come back to an in-person environment for troubleshooting sessions, or they have a coach that can help them online if you're a global organization through these troubleshooting sessions and asking them questions and having them demonstrate what they've learned online. One last example. Let's try manufacturing. So maybe safety protocols could be taught through a gamified learning experience instead of just this is your safety training, because there's nothing more boring than safety training. I'm sorry for all you safety trainers, but it's the truth. That's how everybody feels about safety training. But let's say you gamify it in an e-learning modules where you can earn badges and all kinds of things like that. And then after you've had this gamified e-learning experience, then you can come back and have an on-site practice where you can really demonstrate the things that you learned through your online program. So those are just a few examples of how you could leverage blended learning in a variety of industries. I'm really curious, what industry are you in and what brought you to this topic today? Leave me a comment down below and let me know. And if you have any questions about how you could create blended learning programs for your particular industry, I'm happy to answer any questions that you put in the comments. Okay, so how do you get started with blended learning if you haven't done it already? Well, this is pretty easy. The first thing you want to do with any training program is to evaluate the needs of the program. You want to assess the workforce training requirements. You want to take a look at the organization. Like if you're a global company, then that creates some limitations. If you're training people all over the world, that might be different than if you've got one location. So you're going to evaluate all of those needs and the target audience that you're going to teach. I'll put a link down below on the video that I created on doing a learning needs analysis and how to evaluate the needs and make sure that you're creating training that really matters. You want to make sure you have really great learning objectives first and that you clearly understand what those learning objectives are. Because blended learning isn't just another way to create learning. It isn't like we need customer service training, make sure and make it learning. You always want to start every learning program from the perspective of what are the objectives I'm trying to accomplish and what's the best way to accomplish them. Maybe a blended learning approach is the best way to accomplish them. Maybe not. It really depends on what those learning objectives are. This is just providing you another option for when you are designing programs. Make sure that you select the right tools after you've evaluated the needs of the program that you have. Take a look at the tools at your disposal. Do you have an internal LMS platform, learning management system platform, for those who don't know? Do you have one, and what are the capabilities of it? What can it handle? Can it handle gamification? Does it have that capability within the platform? Can it handle video? How long of videos can it handle? Do you even have one? Are you going to need to put this information in a Google Drive, which is fine too. Take a look at what video creation tools you have, what video editing software that you have available to you, because that'll make a big difference. Also, do you have the right e-learning tools in order to create e-learning? And can you create interactive PDFs? Or can you hire someone who can do all of these things for you? So make sure that you have an understanding of that. You don't want to design a program and then not have the tools to bring it to fruition. And then you'll design the blend. Remember, you're designing the blend based on what those learning objectives are. If the best way to help somebody accomplish a specific task would be to provide first some online learning and then to validate what they learned in a classroom setting, then great, have a blended learning approach. Remember, everything comes from those learning objectives. I can't say that enough because it's such a big miss. We often get really caught up with the whiz bang of simulations and things like that without even thinking about what are the objectives that we're trying to accomplish and what's the best way to address those objectives or to fulfill those objectives. It isn't just, this is a modality. A blended learning approach is a modality. There's lots of different ways that you can help people to learn, but it all starts from the learning objectives. And then, of course, you want to have some sort of way to measure the effectiveness of whatever program you create. You want to embed that into your design, whether that be surveys or quizzes or feedback sessions to assess the impact, or even measuring productivity in some cases. Or in a customer service setting, it's maybe measuring how well what their customer service ratings are. There's lots of ways to measure the effectiveness of the training program that you put out. And you might want to check out my video on measuring technical training. I'll put a link down below to that as well. I'm really interested in if you've already tried blended learning in your organization. And if so, what success have you had? Or what success have you seen in other organizations? Remember, a blended learning approach is just one way that you can optimize performance and increase employee engagement and actually increase the learning that is happening within your organization. So don't rule it out. Blended learning is a great option for, regardless of the organization, how big it is or how many locations you have. There are lots of ways to combine modalities to create a blended learning approach for your employees. Hey, if you have any questions about this video or any videos that I have put out, please put them in the comments below and I'll be happy to answer. And if there's a topic that I haven't covered yet that you're interested in, leave me a comment on that as well, and I'll be happy to make a video on that topic. Have a great day, and I will see you in the next video.